Welcome everyone to Reconstructed, the game show where we analyze the reconstruction of nations after catastrophic events. I'm your host, Jack Johnson, and today we have our contestants compete to answer questions about the road to Reconstruction that occurred in the United States after the Civil War. Let's meet our contestants. Playing for the blue team, high school A-Push teacher, Mr. Smitherstein. Let's give him a hand, folks.
Yes, hello. But I must say something. I simply refuse to be seen in this hideous hat. That's better.
Yes, and playing for the red team, we have internet personality and author, John Green. Hello everybody and welcome to Crash Course US History, where we care less about wars than a baby cares about an unshiny toy. And I agree with Mr. Smitherstein. I'm gonna take this hat off, it's really dumb. Excuse me, Mr. Green, this is my show. My bad. Now, as you know, we will be traveling in chronological order down the road to Reconstruction for the Civil War. When I ask a question, our contestants must not only answer the question with a historical event or document. Oh, it's time for the mystery document. No, it's not time for the mystery document, Mr. Green. There are no mystery documents, only questions which may have an answer that is a document. Let's begin. What executive order was given by the current president of the Civil War freeing slaves in all of the rebelling states?
That would be the Emancipation Proclamation. This is a right turn on the R to R, road to Reconstruction. I call it the R to R in my classroom because, gotta keep things hip. Anyway. This is a right turn on the R to R because it showed a change in the way people thought and set them down the right path.
What event occurred due to the surrendering of Robert E. Lee to Union forces at Appomattox Courthouse? This would be the end of the Civil War because it told our nation to go because we've been stopped at a very long red light and the other nations are far ahead of us. Correct, Mr. Green. What secret vigilante group made up of white Southerners targeted freed men in order to restore white supremacy? That would be the Ku Klux Klan. They are a red light on the road because they made the country put on the brakes down the road of equality. Correct, Mr. Green, and may I say that was quite poetic. Thank you. I wrote something very similar in my book, Looking for Alaska, available in most major stores. Mr. Green, this is not a place to advertise your books. Next question. What laws were passed in southern states in 1865 that were designed to restrict African Americans' freedoms?
That would be the Black Codes. They were a roadblock on the R to R because they forced the country to take the long way instead of heading straight down the middle.
Correct, Mr. Smitherstein. And with that, we enter our lightning round. Both contestants have the opportunity to buzz in, but it all depends on who is faster. Each question must be answered with the correct event and correct road sign. Let's begin. What government agency was created in 1865 to aid distressed freedmen?
Freedmen's Bureau, green light.
What was passed in order to abolish slavery and indentured servitude in 1865?
The 13th Amendment, green light.
What president was impeached after many fights occurred between he and the radical Republicans that dominated Congress? Andrew Johnson, speed bump. Slow the nation down for a little bit. Explain the election of 1868. Ulysses S. Grant versus Horatio Seymour. Grant won the electoral vote and was granted the presidency. This is a speed limit increase sign. The country was coasting around 30, but with the election of a man willing to die for the equality of others, the country increased its speed. And that's our time on the speed round. Now, the points are doubled. What was passed in 1868 that addressed citizens' rights and equal protection of the law?
The 14th Amendment. It's a green light because it now forced the equality that this amendment gave.
Correct. What did the 15th Amendment and Enforcement Acts of 1870 do to help African Americans?
It made sure that a person would never be declined the right to vote, hold office, serve on a jury because of their race. Both of these are green lights because they allowed our country not to stop, but to build up speed.
Correct! What federal law removed voting restrictions on secessionists that rebelled during the Civil War? The Amnesty Act of 1872. This was a green light because it showed that now everyone was equal through race or past actions. Yes, what was the election of 1876 and why was it considered so controversial? You know, Jack, I knew this question was coming, so I wrote down the answer on my nifty iPad that you have a very similar one of. Well, Rutherford B. Hayes and his opponent Samuel J. Tilden were basically tied in the Electoral College votes, and even though Tilden won the popular vote, 20 electoral votes were yet to be given, and an informal deal called the Compromise of 1877 was made in order to give Hayes the presidency. This was a yield sign because it caused our government to check the surroundings and examine how effective our government is pulling ahead. Speaking of effective relationships, The Fault in Our Stars, starring Shailene Woodley and Ansel. Stop! No, my show, not an infomercial. That is correct, however. What is the difference between sharecropping and tenant farming?
Yes, well, like Mr. Green, I also predicted that this question might come up. So I wrote the answer down on my nifty iPad that you and Mr. Green have similar ones of. Here we go. Sharecropping is where the owner of a piece of land can rent it out to a farmer for a share of the crops grown on his land. But tenant farming is where a man rents land from another, provides his own tools, and at the end receives half of the crop. This was a green light because it showed the American spirit being resurrected, urging more people to work hard.
Yes, that is correct, Mr. Smitherstein. What two devices were implemented into the voting process in order to prevent an African American from voting? That would be the poll tax and the literacy tests. They are both stop signs because they forced our country to stop while other things crossed in our path. And we had to wait for those things to cross before we can continue. Have I mentioned my YouTube channel? Next question. What clause allowed certain situations to be judged by old statutes while making others be judged by new, more harsh statutes? This would be the grandfather clause. This was a red light because it prevented equal justice from being given to all. My grandfather is the basis of my new book called Old Age, New or Fake. Mr. Green, if you do not stop plugging yourself, I will personally throw you out of this game show. Oh, looks like we're at our final question, thank God. You're both tied, and whoever gets this right will win the Ken Burns Civil Wars DVD. I know, impressive. Here is your final question. What racial segregation laws were passed in order to separate blacks and whites under a separate but equal status? Please write the answer on your board now. Okay, please show your boards. Mr. Smitherstein, you put down Jim Crow Law's red light.
Yes.
That is correct. You will win this coveted Civil War Ken Burns DVD if Mr. Green fails to answer the question. Alright, let's take a look at Mr. Green's board. Mr. Green, you wrote Come See Paper Towns, the movie. I'm sorry, that is incorrect. Obviously. Why would you... Oh, I get it. Trying to plug yourself, huh? You trying to plug yourself? Wow, so funny. That's great. You know, whatever. I quit. I'm done. Thank you for watching Crash Course US History. Our producer
Excuse me, I really appreciate the DVD and all, but we failed to speak about Plessy versus Ferguson, in which the Supreme Court solidified the constitutionality of separate but equal, which was a stop sign on the road to Reconstruction. Anyways, bye. Thanks for the DVD again. Can I keep that? Yeah, I'm just gonna take it, thanks.